The policy names the association as the insured, not you as individuals. So when there is a claim, the check is given to the named insured, which is the association. And we always have water claims and 6 units involved. It doesn't mean there's going to be 6 individual checks. One check with a breakdown of who gets what, goes to the management firm, deposits it, then they cut it out to you. So the named insured is the person who gets the funds to be dispersed to the owners involved. Now in your packet there's an insurance summary that looks like this. This is from a condo, a real condo in 2008. Is that the year? Yeah, 2008 to 9. This was their coverage. I looked at this condo today because back then they were insured for $149 million. Before I left the office this morning, because I did show up at 4 o'clock to work, Milton, they are now at $208 million. Okay, so from 2008 to today, we just renewed this one a couple months ago, they are now at $208 million. The cost of construction has increased. So those of you who are sitting on a board and look at your summary and you say, oh, we haven't had to increase our building for 10 years, we're still at 20 million or 22 million or whatever the case may be, you are underinsured. Okay? And you are not following your bylaws. And there's nothing worse. And of course people say, well, 8 years ago we only paid $129,000, Sue, for our insurance. How come it's so much today? Well, we've got another 40, 50, 60 million dollars on it. We've got additional coverages. We maybe added building ordinance now at a higher value. Before you just had it, you weren't required to carry building ordinance, and building ordinance takes care of the additional cost because of changes in your building code. So even though back when your building was built you didn't have to do something, today if you have a loss you have to add in extra money for that. So we have building ordinance coverage, which in the old days you didn't have to have. So there's certain things that cause your premium to go up, but as I tell people, I want to be the person who pays the premium and doesn't have the loss. I want somebody else to have that loss. I'll gladly pay my fair share of their loss. Okay? So when a hurricane hits somewhere else, I say, thank you, let me pay a little extra so the reinsurers can continue to cover those hurricanes elsewhere. I don't want it to hit Oahu or Hawaii. Okay? That's how I think. It's just like my life insurance. When I'm ready to die, I want to pay it that year and know I'll die. But that doesn't work that way. Okay? So that's like your insurance. You can't assume you're not going to have a claim. I had an owner call me for a condo and he says, well, I don't smoke, so I don't need insurance. Because I just don't, there's no open flame in my unit, I'll be okay. I said, oh, what about the person above you, on the side of you, around you? What about an electrical fire? They happen, even though you're fine and not smoking. Fires aren't always caused by people smoking. So in other words, you have to assess your risk and decide what you need as an owner. So the master policy covers the building as built. Your homeowner's policy, which is called an HO6, covers your personal property. It covers your improvements to the structure. It covers your loss assessment, the deductible, and your liability. What we need to look at when you look at the summary is, just like an HO6, your policy has building coverage. That's your contents, your improvements. You have liability. The master policy does too. It's called a comprehensive general liability policy. Yours is personal liability. The association carries a commercial umbrella. You may carry an umbrella because you have assets worth more than just what you can cover. You may have above your auto and your homeowners an umbrella policy. The association does the same thing. They look at their assets. They say, gee, we have 500 people living in this building. We have to make sure we have an adequate umbrella, because something could go wrong and we're protecting the assets of the owners. So when you're paying your maintenance fees and you see the insurance summary and you go, wow, that's a lot of money to pay for insurance, they're protecting your assets. Not only the building asset, but your liability exposure as a unit owner. The board serves for free. I know, I'm on that board. We have to protect them, okay? When I first joined one board, they asked me if I'd be on the board. I looked at their insurance and I said, I'm sorry, you have such a cruddy D&O policy. I'm not willing to be on your board. I said, but if you want to buy a real directors and officers policy, and you can leave the rest of the insurance with that person, you can go find this, I'll be on your board. But I work too hard to lose my assets over something that goes wrong on this board. Okay, because I'm only one person out of 7. And if they always go against what I think is right, I mean, I have to go along with it, but I'm not putting my assets online when I'm serving for free. So, you as board members who are here today, and you as future board members, because someday owners, they're going to call on you to say, come help. You want to make sure that you have adequate directors and officers insurance to protect you and your assets, your personal. Okay, this condo is in a flood zone. They require flood insurance, and FEMA is losing money, flood left and right. They used to be 29 million in losses that they had more than money collected, and then after all the things that have been going on, they're estimating it's going to be closer to $8 billion that FEMA will be in arrears. So that means flood rates are going up every year. On the average, I used to say 8 to 10, and they're going up about 8 to 10, and they're still going up by 8 and 10% each year. So that's something the property management firms who are doing your reserve studies and doing your budgets, they always call and ask, FEMA still at 8 to 10? What's this year? This is a good one for you. Directors and officers, there are one company left Hawaii. We're done. We don't like Hawaii anymore. You folks have more claims than anybody else. We're out of here. You're a small state with just a few dollars that you give us, and you have more claims than New York, and we pay out more here, and you have more claims, and we pay out more than we do in Florida. We're done. And California. We beat them all. Okay? As small of a state as we are, with our little 1,700 condos, they're paying out more in directors and officers' claims, and so this one company's left. The other company sent us a list and said, we're going to have a rate increase in Hawaii. I wasn't surprised. I knew that's coming. Anywhere from 25 to 65%. Now, fortunately, most D&O premiums are relatively inexpensive. This condo paid back then $2,000. They're probably paying about maybe $3,000 today. So even if it were a 50% increase, it's not outrageous, and there shouldn't be. But those... And that's the hardest thing for me to get across to people is when you decide to sue the board because you're upset with them, think twice, because it is going to affect you. It would be much better if you could sit down and discuss it, because a lot of times it's just misunderstandings. I can't stress how often it's misunderstandings. And there are times when the board deserves to be sued. I understand that. But there are times when I'm thinking, this is a crazy thing to sue over. I had a member sue the board. The following year, this person became the board president who sued. I happen to know him personally. He calls me up and he says, Sue, why is our insurance so high, our directors and officers? I said, well, you sued him last year. And he said, oh, God, if I had known it was going to go up that much, I wouldn't have sued. Not only did their premium go like 6 times, their deductible went up. Instead of it being a typical $1,000, $2,500, maybe $5,000, it went up to $50,000. But why is it so high? You sued. I wouldn't have sued. Well, then think. Okay? And I say that to all owners. Because even as a board member, I sit on this side, but as an owner, because I own condos where I'm not on the board, and I understand how hard this job is, and I understand the frustrations of people, but it's like, I was sitting, this guy was running, I go to a lot of board meetings and annual meetings. Do I have time? Where am I? No, I ran out of time? Oh, dear. Okay. Shucks. I never get enough time. Anyway, conclusion. Owners, it's up to you to take care of your personal things, the association to take care of the building as built. I am sorry I overused my time. Aloha.